Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here, and today's video is on Star Wars The High Republic Light of the Jedi Part 2. Part 1 of the book was our previous video, so I'm not going to go over all the intro things for the book, but we will start right away with Part 2, The Paths. Chapter 19, Coruscant, Monument Plaza. Lena So was at the park on the only natural thing left on Coruscant, the mountain of Umate. She was accompanied by two guards, Voru and Matari, as well as her primary aide, Norel Quo. So was meeting with important people in the Republic, and some of them were at the incident of the Legacy Run. 4 Jedi attended the meeting: Yariel Poof, Jorah Malley, Skur, and Avar Kriss. I find it interesting that Jorah is on Coruscant. I assume Reith is still on the Amaxine station from the last book at this time, as the hyperlanes were closed at this period. Other attendees to the meeting are Senator Izzet Nor of Sereno, Jeffo Laria, the Transportation Secretary, and Admiral Pevel Kronara of the Republic Defense Coalition. The group discussed the hyperlane ban and what caused the incident. There have been 15 known emergencies so far. So wants answers as to what happened. Chapter 20, Hetzel System, the Third Horizon. Droids are working on putting the puzzle of the Legacy Run back together. Tar has come up with a system that should predict where more emergencies will happen. He needs a large supply of droids to calculate the results. Elzar Munn and Avar Kriss are going to meet with the Santeka clan, as they are knowledgeable in hyperspace. Chapter 21, No Space. Pan Aita, Lorna D, and Kassav are members of the Nihil group, the Storm. The Nihil leader is Marchion Ro, the Eye. The Nihil met at the Great Hall in an area they call No Space. They traveled there through unmapped hyperspace lanes in the Republic. They were mapped by Marchion's father, so the only people who know how to get there are the Nihil. They have come here after their victory in the Abdeli system to have a feast. Kassav's ship is called the New Elite. Pan Aita's ship is Elegencia. Lorna D's ship is Lorna D. Marchion Ro's ship is the Gaze Electric. Pan, Kassav, and Lorna were all the rank of Tempest Runners, the highest rank in the Nihil. Marchion, the Eye, is a sort of guide to what attacks to make, but he has no real say in what the Tempest Runners do. They have the power, and they have troops under them. A Storm, the next rank, Zagir, was commanding the crew that blew up the 6th transport ship in Abdeli instead of looting it. One member from Zagir's crew was killed for the blunder. It was not clear who died. Marchion's father, Asgar Ro, was murdered by one of the Tempest Runners. Asgar was the previous Eye to the Nihil. Marchion does not know which one of the Tempest Runners killed his father. Marchion held a vote, which means he will not be giving the paths, which are their way through hyperspace, to the Tempest Runners to let the heat of the Legacy Run cool off. Immediately after this, he gave paths to Lorna D so she could try to kidnap a rich family on Elfrona. Kassav was not happy with this. Marchion told Kassav he could still run missions without the paths. Chapter 22, The Outer Rim, Elfrona Outpost. Bell was training under Loden at the Jedi outpost on Elfrona. Specifically, he was training in cliff jumping and, more importantly, landing. Ogden's Hope was a large town 30 kilometers away from the Jedi outpost. About an hour from there lived a wealthy family from a core world, Erica and Otto, and their kids, Bea and Ron. One day, a storm of Nihil came to their house. Bell was not able to control his fall. Loden did not think Bell was ready yet, so he had Indira Stokes at the bottom ready to catch him. Indira had the charhound of the outpost with her, Ember. They walked back up to the outpost to have breakfast made by Porter. The family was barricaded inside their house. Erica took control of their mining droids, blowing up the Nihil speeder, killing 4 of them. 6 Nihil remain outside their house. Ron got in contact with the Ogden Hope's security force, but when they heard it was a Nihil issue, they said they were too far away to assist and apologized. Someone on the planet monitors the Ogden Hope's security communications line. He sent a message to the Jedi outpost, telling them about what was going on at the Blythe's home. The Jedi are going to try and help the family. Chapter 23, The Mid-Rim Naboo. Avar and Elzar met with Velis and Marlo Santeca. The Santecas have offered assistance for Tar and some of their knowledge on hyperspace. However, they were hiding something. After Avar and Elzar left, Velis and Marlo discussed amongst themselves. They have a suspicion of a woman being involved, who they think would be ancient by now. Chapter 24, Hyperspace. The Gaze Electric. Marchion Rose, Navigator, and the person who finds the paths is Mari Santeca. She was stolen by Marchion's family around a century before. She was being kept alive with the best medical treatment in the galaxy. She said she could do the same thing Tar was doing on Hetzel and find where the emergencies will appear. Marchion will pass this information onto the Tempest Runners. Chapter 25, Elfrona. The Jedi arrive at the Blythe's house after the Nihil already left with the family. A mine blew up their transport, so they are riding the Steelies in the pen at the house to follow the Nihil. Indira is heading back to the outpost in a speeder to get a vector in the event they have to chase the Nihil off-world. Chapter 26, Salvation Class Republic Medical Frigate Panacea. Buriaga, Nib, Joss, and Pika met with the people they saved from a legacy run fragment. One of those was Serge Ukarian. He told the Jedi he had sliced into the computer system and saw 3 strikes of lightning come at the legacy run just before it ripped apart. Serge's parents were in another compartment that has not been found yet. Chapter 27, Elfrona. Otto clicked his tongue to get the Steelies the Nihil were riding to stop. One of the Nihil was flung out of the cart the family was in and died. This delay gave the Jedi enough time to catch up. The Nihil set a trap for the Jedi to come into. Erica saw 3 lightsabers and realized it was Jedi who were coming to help them. Chapter 28, Hyperspace, the New Elite. Kasav's Tempest went to Eridu system. They offered to stop the emergencies for 50 million credits. They destroyed the first emergence to prove they were telling the truth. Governor Merle Veen gave them the credits after the second of 3 emergencies came into the system, destroying the ships with their main export. The Nihil meant to destroy the 3rd emergence, but one of Kasav's storms, Delix, miscalculated and put the ship in the wrong place. The emergence struck the moon with a population of 1.2 billion people. Veen said she put the conversation through to Senator Knorr and the Republic. She also said she ran a records check on his ship and she knew who he was, Kasav Miliko. Chapter 29, Hetzel System, the Rooted Moon. Tar's array was completed with 57,000 Navidroids. What he didn't tell people was that most of the droids would likely not make it out after the calculations, but they would be crucial in allowing the array to stay powered. Senator Knorr complained about the expense of the droids and the failure of the RDC to chase after Kasav to his primary aide, Jenny Wataro. She told him to run for Chancellor if he was so displeased. Tar's droids were working, but overheating. Some were breaking because of the heat. Avar and Elzar went to try to help Tar. They pushed the hot air higher into the atmosphere, creating a cloud. The rain cooled off the droids. The array began predicting the new points of the emergencies. Tar's machine worked. Chapter 30. Elfrona. Porter's Steely was shot by the two Nihil ambushing the Jedi. Loden and Bell continued on to stop the Blythes from being taken by the remaining Nihil. Porter killed one of the ambushers, and Ember killed the other after the Nihil was wounded by Porter. Loden fired a charged bolt from their destroyed transport ship at one of the two Nihil ships and destroyed it. The Nihil put the family in between the other ship and the Jedi. Loden and Bell heard a blaster shot from the Nihil. The mother, Erica, fell out of the cart. She was still alive. Porter is going to bring Erica back to the outpost and try to heal her. The Nihil put the rest of the Blythe family in their ship and took off. Indira arrived with 2 vectors. Indira, Loden, and Bell are going after the Nihil. Chapter 31. Deep Space. Republic Long Beam Aurora 3. Joss and Pika were at the predicted site of the 39th emergence. Teami and Suitmani were also there. Lorna D's ship had good security measures, so it would not show up on scanners. She was in the same area of space as Joss and Pika. When the emergence came out of hyperspace, Lorna D left because it was only a passenger pod and not the flight recorder. Lorna D is going to the next emergence spot while the Republic attempt to save the passengers. 1 long beam stayed behind to help the survivors. The remaining 3 long beams and 2 vectors went to the next emergence spot. This emergence, number 40, was the flight recorder. Lorna D fired 6 missiles into the crowd of ship and fragment. 4 were shot down. 1 destroyed a long beam. The other killed Teami and her vector. Joss and Pika's long beam, along with Suitmani and his vector, went to combat Lorna D, while the final long beam went to rescue the fragment. Lorna D fired her 6 remaining missiles and jumped away, admitting defeat but not wanting to die. Chapter 32. Above Elfrona. The Nihil are trying to escape the 2 Jedi vectors. The Cloud in charge told one of the 2 remaining strikes to throw the girl out the airlock to distract the Jedi. The Cloud also contacted her Storm, asking for a new path to help them escape the Jedi. Chapter 33. The Outer Rim, the Third Horizon. Chancellor So has ordered the RDC to hunt down the Nihil and bring them to justice. Chapter 34. No Space, the Great Hall of the Nihil. Marchion and Kassav fought. Marchion won, but kept Kassav alive. Marchion came up with a plan to save the Nihil from the Republic. The plan caused a rare unanimous vote among the Tempest Runners and the Eye. Chapter 35. Elfrona System. Loden had Bell jump out of the vector after B. He caught her and they landed safely, even though it was from a farther fall than Bell had attempted in training. Bell realized that the purpose of the Jedi was not to save oneself, but to save another. That lesson is why Bell was successful this time around. Interlude. The Council. The Jedi voted on the topic of helping the RDC and hunting down the Nihil. The vote was split 5-5, as Rosasson abstained from voting. The final vote was Jorah Malley's. She voted to assist the RDC. She was also on the Jedi ship that would do the assisting, the Ataraxia. This is all for part 2, The Paths. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.